he's the most famous man you probably never heard of, with billions of views online.
Today's Bugatti Day. You know what, most people who have Bugattis, this is something Bugatti automobiles.
Ah, of course it's something Bugatti.
Well, what color is your Bugatti?
We've all seen the videos of Andrew Tate going online and asking people, what color is your Bugatti? And all that makes people like you and I feel is like, one, we're broke, and two, it reminds us that we don't own a Bugatti Chiron. But today, we're gonna meet someone that does. And not only do they own a Bugatti, but we're gonna get a tour of their $8 million garage, and I'm gonna ask them all the hard questions. I'm gonna ask him how much money he makes, exactly what he does, how he's made all his money, how much does it cost to own a Bugatti on a monthly basis, and maybe we're gonna get a sneak peek at this person's bank account. Because I'm wondering, someone that has $8 million in cars, like how much do they keep cash in their bank at all times? So make sure you stick around to find out. Now let's go ahead and dive in. Shit.
How you doing?
Good to see you. Guys, this is PJ, and this is his $8 million garage. Now, before we get into it, because I want to sit down and ask you a couple questions about how you were able to do all of this and, you know, what it is that you actually do. Who is PJ?
Hey,
can you give us a tour?
Everyone wants to know that.
Who is this guy? Can you give us a tour of this?
Right. So this is where I keep some of my more exotic cars, because I have another 7 cars that aren't actually in this garage, which are also exotic, but they're not as like rare or sport-like. This is my Assetto Fiorina SF90 with every possible carbon option inside out. Really, really rare color, Rosso Mugello. Really cool car, one of my favorite cars to actually drive, more so than the other cars. But
how much is this?
This is about $1 million. It's the sticker was about 800.
So it's selling like over sticker.
It sells for over sticker, and it's really hard to get, especially in this configuration. Has the $25,000 carbon fiber wheels.
Carbon wheels.
Yes, this is my one-of-one Lamborghini SVJ with an amazing interior. Really cool car with a 700K sticker, sells for about $1 million now.
And this is a Roadster, right?
This is a Roadster, top comes down, every carbon option, and a factory Neo Nemesis color. This is the STO, which is the latest kind of a Huracan offering from Lamborghini. It's the race car, the final V10 race car, and it's all carbon option, one of a kind color called Blue Glocco. It's like Tiffany blue. Wow. I do all my Huracans that color in my
I remember you had the Performante.
Yeah, exactly.
That was the exact color.
two colors like that for the Performante, then the Evo in that color, and then I did this, etc. Yeah.
And how much is that one?
This one is about like 480, 500K now. Yeah. So really cool car.
And this?
The Chiron. In a glacier white with black transparent carbon, so the video may not show, but everything black on the car is basically like carbon fiber.
Well, what color is your Bugatti?
Obviously white. Obviously white.
How many of these are there?
There's 500 Chirons, that's including all variations. This has the white interior with the baby blue stitching, has the baby blue calipers.
Crazy.
MSRP was about 3.2 million. You know, current value, most Chirons sell for about 3.5 million. And I put it on HRE wheels. And I think it's just a fantastic.
So I know that you had to buy new tires for this car.
Yeah, so the tires are actually right there. You see those big ass tires right there?
Yeah, and a lot of people are like, oh, it's $40,000, $50,000. Like, how much is it really?
So the Veyron before this, the tires were $40,000, which the tires had to basically be mounted and balanced by Bugatti in France, and they would send you a new rim and a new set of tires every time you did it, and you would send your old wheels back for the next guy.
So you would send the entire
Yeah, exactly,
set.
so it was a set. That's why it was so expensive. This is 2019 Ford GT with all carbon options, carbon wheels, carbon kit, carbon everything. So super nice car. And then that's a 993 1998 final series with an aero kit, very rare car, 30,000 original miles, has been lowered, some minor mods and stuff like that. So,
are you looking at these cars as like investments, or you know, it's a combination of like an investment versus something that you absolutely love, or like where's your
so
mindset
both
on
like
that?
So I've always figured out that if you're going to be playing with this stuff, it's expensive and it adds up. So people conventionally are used to losing 18% a year owning an exotic. So back in the day, I created an investment firm that allowed people to basically invest in exotics without losing money, and in many cases make money. Over the years, that's evolved to the platform Exotic Car Hack. But for me, every car has to first be something I want. Like either it's something I want or I won't keep it. I'll buy it, maybe resell it. You know, I had a GT3 RS, the new one that's coming out, the 992, an allocation. I sold that for a couple of hundred over. I don't even need it because I know I'm not going to like it. Right. But it's always important to put yourself in a good financial position, no matter what you buy, because no matter what it is, that it's this luxury, this one, or even an old school car, eventually you're gonna get bored of it. It's just how human nature is. You know, we evolve, like today, maybe 800K is your dream. In 3 years, it'll be one of your 15 cars, and you might say it's not that special anymore. Like at some point, cars don't make sense, and you have to make sure that whenever that point comes in your life, it doesn't become a financial burden. I always tell people to think of cars like a marriage. You're not expecting going into marriage that you're gonna get divorced, but things change, right? And sometimes the variables that change aren't in your hands. Maybe the economy changes. Right. So like these are things you cannot control, right? You can control your stake. So you wanna make sure that at the time of separation, you're basically having a prenup. So if you're in a good financial position to buy an exotic, you should put yourself in a better financial position by buying it to ensure that if something was to happen down the road, regardless that you don't want the car, or that something has changed and you're not able to afford the car anymore, or you need the liquidity or the cash, you're never in a losing position by doing that. Right. That's the key. The only way I'll buy an extra car is if there is money to be made in it when I sell it, so I'm not just tying up $1 million to sit there and then I'm never driving it anyways. So if I don't enjoy it that much, then at least I'm making something. And so as I've progressed through the years, I've basically turned my entire collection into one, wealth preservation, but two, also an income creator. I've had 3 other SF90s before, this is my 4th one. I've made 100 to 200 on each one of those. So you could take that now, maybe 500K of this car is prepaid by the profits of the other 3 before it. So technically this car is going to make me a ton of money at the time where it's actually sold, because it has the 3 profits plus, you know, like the fact that it's now 50% equity plus the upside, you know. Yeah. So
I feel like that way of thinking is the complete opposite to like how everybody thinks about these cars. Like I remember, you know, when I was starting off, I thought, oh, if I want like a $200,000 car, I need to buy the car and just forget about it. Like I need to have millions and millions of dollars in the bank, because this car is gonna depreciate at an insane level. The maintenance is gonna be crazy. Insurance is gonna be thousands of dollars a month. But when you understand this way of you doing it, and it doesn't only work with like the top of everything.
It works with anything.
Yeah,
it works with
like
watches, it works with art,
yeah,
it works with real estate, right? And I think that there's 2 things to say to that. The first one is that people have demonized success for a long time, and which means that they've looked at cars as a vanity, as a show-off, right? And partially, in the time they did this, the auto industry was not developed enough. So to own a Lamborghini was a very particular thing. To own a Countach was a very particular status thing at a certain time, because people knew they weren't convenient to drive, they would always break down, these were very experimental in nature. But something that I knew back then that a lot of people maybe missed is that anything that is exciting eventually becomes the norm. Today we're looking at private jets as a huge waste of money. We're looking at these things as unattainable. You know, you have to have X amount of money to buy a jet, and look at how much it burns per year in fee and this. I can guarantee you that in 10 years, private jets will be so much more affordable, and so many more companies become competitive, materials become cheaper, and airports become more streamlined to allow them to land and come. Today there's so many collaborations between Volkswagen, Porsche, and like these products that have been tested for years are now implemented in these Lamborghinis, so they don't break down. This isn't necessarily renaissance or pioneer thinking. It's just understanding that cars have become, just like watches, a commodity, and just like real estate, you know, a want that people are realizing they can have, and they don't have to lose money. So more people are now willing to buy. More people are getting richer. As you know, as times go, there's more money in the world, and people are becoming greedier in the sense that they want more.
All right, so you have this SF90 here, and it has the degree, it has the plate no degree. And I mean, there's no way that anyone can reach this level of success without a degree, so.
Well, of course there is. I mean, I think first off, schools are completely overrated. 9 out of 10 people can succeed without even going to, even setting foot in a university. You know, people say, oh, you're the exception, and I would say I'm not. I'm just someone who understood the scam school was and realized it was way behind its time, and I said, you know what, I'm not falling for it. And I chose to take the alternative. And the alternative was you either work and gain experience, or you go to school. There's no like magical solution. It's either you put in the 4 years you're gonna go to school and get experience in the real world, or you go to school and gain fake experience, or so I call it, or the opportunity to show people that you persevere through 4 years. I'd rather show people that I did something and I have a track record in those 4 years.
So what did you choose to do that wasn't going to school?
I chose to have an entire 4 years in telemarketing, sales, and service to get skills, to get my foot in the door at a bank, to then spend 5 years nonstop, day in and day out, committed to corporate America, to move through the ranks, and then be in a position where I made, by the age of like 20, 23 more than people who had Ivy League masters, you know, so it just made sense.
So I think that's interesting because a lot of young people today, they think that they need to start their own business from scratch, right? Like they need to be, you know, graduate high school or maybe not even go to high school and just start a business. But it seems like you didn't do that. Like you went to work somewhere.
Yeah,
right?
I love corporate America. You know, there's something that people don't understand is they look at jobs as a negative. They go like, oh, I don't want to work for that guy. It's him telling me, well, who are you? Like, what skill do you have to offer the world? What talent are you bringing to the table? If you know your talent and you have the experience to bring it to the world, then yeah, you don't need a boss and you can go do that on your own. If you don't have that, then that's what a job is for. It's not there because someone wants to tell you what to do. It's there because you lack skill. And the skill, therefore, is the opportunity to learn it by just going to that job and getting good at it. But people get stuck in their job, you know?
So what do you do now? Like, do you work a job now?
No, I now own a dozen different companies. You may have seen Exotic Car Hacks, Watch Trading Academy, Secret Entourage. I've authored a dozen books. My most famous books are Third Circle Theory, Radius, and Gate of Choice. And outside of that, I'm also a very heavy investor into dealerships and luxury asset floor plans. And in addition to that, I also own a large investment firm that focuses on curating extreme luxuries and then creating investment packages. So it's an investment fund that focuses on alternative assets. So I've done all of that and much more in my 40 years of life. And now I've gotten in a position where I've hit multipliers and I'm able to make significant amounts of income and cash flow and additional residuals. And it gets you to a place like this, you know? But this is the byproduct, to be fair, of 20 years of work, you know?
Right, right. Like it's not like it happened.
No, it's not like 5 years ago I figured out this tech company and now I'm like, I sold it for $1 billion or anything, you know?
A lot of people always think like, you know, myself included, like how much money does someone need to have in their bank account? Like, you know, liquid money, money that they could access at any time to be able to have like an $8 million garage. And this is just some of your cars, right? Because how many cars do you have total?
I think it's like 17 now, like 30.
17?
I mean, it'd be if you include my wife's cars and stuff, yeah, probably about 17.
How much money do you think someone needs to have in their bank account?
It says here I have $173, but here, I'll let you see it. This is just
so this is a lot of accounts.
Yeah. So, but this gives you an idea of like what it gives you an idea on. These aren't investments accounts. It's just my checking and savings accounts.
This is an $8 million garage, and you have a couple different garages in here. Let's just leave it.
I'm just telling you that,
Let's just leave it at that.
It's not, the main thing is that you have to understand that this is, again, the byproduct of, I want to be clear, not like something, I never sold a company. All of this is through cash flow of current companies and enough cash flow to make you comfortable taking on a $3 million car, $1 million car, $1 million car without feeling the pinch. You never want to be in a position where you buy luxuries and feel the pinch because you're putting yourself in a bad position. The value of the watch will never be lost. The value of the cars won't be lost. Like these are good investments anyways. They're going to make money.
So tell us a little bit about the company that you have called Exotic Car Hacks. So that's actually a company that sells a service and shows people how to do specific things that I've done as well for a very long time. Like I've had now in the past 3 to 4 years, probably like 9 supercars, and they've all been through this exact model. So can you walk us through what that company does?
So I teach people basically how to buy an exotic car like this, be able to drive it for a year, account for its insurance and things like its cost of repairs and things like that, and basically not lose any money. You can do this with as little as a $50,000 car all the way up to a $10 million car. The point is, if you can buy a $60,000 car, drive it, not deal with high insurance, cost of depreciation, or high cost of repairs, you can get to a place where you can sell it for the same amount or a little bit more. You got to drive it for free for a year. A good example is that Bugatti. We can use that. I had a P1 and a Senna here. I made $300,000 on those cars, driving them 6 months. I made 300. Most people don't even make 300 grand a year. I just drove 2 cars for like 1,500 miles each, and I got $300,000 in my hands. I applied that $300,000 towards this car to basically bring its price down. Now I have not only bought it at a price that's incredible, where I'll make $500,000. It will tell you that between these 3 cars, I've made $800,000.
That's insane.
When I'm done. Now most people say, "Oh, are you flipping cars?" No, I'm enjoying what I was going to buy anyways. And that's the thing with Exotic Car Hacks. We don't teach people how to flip cars. We teach people to enjoy the things they're going to do. Why don't you get richer buying these things instead of get rich to buy them? So the point is, instead of getting rich and saying, I've disposed of this $1 million, then I've lost all my money, why don't you buy the right things that continue to appreciate in value or do well so that you can enjoy them? And let's say you change your mind. You don't want a Bugatti in a year. You want a Pagani. Why pull your money out of a Bugatti, put it in a Pagani, and you don't have to lose money doing it. And you even buy the bases in the Pagani even less because you made some money on the Bugatti. Learning which cars go up, which cars go down, and more importantly, which cars have high costs of insurance, high costs of repairs, and avoiding that through our strategies so that you can be ahead of the game.
Starter car for someone someone that, let's say, is making like 100 grand a year or something, and you know, they think that they could afford Mercedes C250, and that's the highest car that they could afford. What can they realistically buy?
Look,
like something.
Society has taught us that you go on these sites like Suze Orman or this, and they go, you can own a Maserati after you make $2 million a year. I'm like,
and you have to pay cash.
I'm like, a good place is like 35 grand. You don't need to like
Zero debt.
Yeah, I was like reading this and I was like, what the hell is this crap? You know, like, but that's what they teach you, right? They teach you that these things are for the super wealthy, and like Maseratis are like $30,000 Volvos. They're trash. You know, like what people don't understand about this is that if you're making 100K a year, you could literally have a Gallardo, like Lamborghini Gallardo, you could have a Ferrari 360, you could have a Maserati, you could have an Aston Martin, and you could buy these cars used, depreciated at 30 to 40 cents on the dollar. You could drive them for a year, move to the next. And then the argument comes, well, have you seen the repair bill? Well, first off, cars aren't that expensive to repair. People assume that what was true 30 years ago about Lamborghini is true today. That's not accurate. Secondly, the majority of these cars, if you use our strategies, can be bought so you don't actually have a loss on the exact car, because we teach you exactly how to inspect it, how to ensure the maintenance for that particular car is done, so you put yourself ahead of the game. So if you're doing it correctly, even with 100K a year income and a 650 credit score, you could still be in a beautiful, like super loaded 200K Range Rover. And even though you're not buying it for 200K, you could be in a beautiful 150K Aston Martin, you could be in a 300K Aston Martin, you could be in a 200K Lamborghini, 200K Ferrari. I mean, the sky's the limit.
Look, I know a little bit about your story, and if you guys haven't seen the video, make sure you go and check out the other video that we did with PJ, where he went over his entire story from scratch. But in that video, you basically spoke about like how you came from absolutely nothing. So, you know, a lot of people see this now, and if this is how they first see you, they might think that you come from a rich family, or, you know, you won the lottery, or you did this crazy thing, but you come from absolutely nothing, like ground zero. Like you and your mom, I think you guys were living like out of a car at some point. And so for the people watching this, that, you know, they're probably not living out of a car, but they come from a regular family, like people that are not making a ton of money. What do you think that these people need to know that you think that you've been able to figure out throughout your career and your journey that allowed you to get from, you know, living in the car with your mom to, you know, having all these cars and living this lifestyle that people can only dream of?
So most people would want me to come from a rich family because it would give them a reason not to work for it. I think most people demonize people who have made it. They demonize money because it reminds them of what's possible. And then it shows them how much road exists between that, what they want, and where they are. And it's pretty scary, right? To think of that road and be like, I'm not working 15 years for this crap. And it happens a lot. But you have to be driven by this ideology that you want this to get here. Not everybody needs this, not everybody wants this. But usually most people that don't want it don't believe they can get it. So that's usually why they set smaller goals and they kind of settle there. Other people believe that, you know, life is about family and health. Like they basically use other reasons, thinking that, well, if you choose this, you can't have that. So you must be unhealthy, or you must not have a family, or the world has abandoned you. You're a greedy pig. But the reality is all of this is the byproduct of a lot of work. And yes, you can still have a family, you can still live a healthy lifestyle, you can still have the perfect family you want and the kids and whatever, and still have this too. The argument is that there's a lot of work that goes between now and then, and that scares people a lot.
Listen, man, thank you so much for showing us all these cars and kind of walking through your story. Where do these people find you?
Learnfrompj.com, really simple place. I have a really good 90-day boot camp. We'll take you through hell and back, but it will give you the mindset, the philosophy, the psychology you need to be successful in life. In addition, it'll give you access to my 3 books on self-awareness and consciousness. And then if you want to learn more about cars, exoticcarhacks.com, and of course about watches, watchtradingacademy.com. Cool, thanks again, buddy.
Now, all I ask is if you enjoy this content, like this video and subscribe to the channel, because we have a lot more coming.